Hello YouTube, this will be another video information or tutorial about this little unit here. I think they call this the 4-channel Buddybox on Hobbyking, and it basically allows you to have two controllers control the same plane, which can be really useful in the field. You can bring just this as a setup with your own receiver and try somebody else's airplane, or you can have this ready to lend your plane to somebody else. And then you also maintain control of the airplane by just the flip of a switch. Your controller becomes active, their controller is active, and so forth. So that works great. I'm just going to show you how to use it, because this is another one of these products that doesn't have any manuals on Hobbyking. So basically, it's a 4-channel. The 8-channel is back order, really hard to get. I've tried to get it a couple of times, but it's not available. So 4 channels. This is where you would plug in another receiver. This is the receiver I have plugged into it now. It's a 7-channel Turnigy. So notice here I only have 3 channels on this side: throttle, elevator, and aileron. And then you use one more channel on one of the 2 receivers to select which controller is actually controlling the airplane. So you have 2 inputs and 1 output to your servo and motor. And this one here, plugged into FS, is your switch. And this one decides what control is actually going to be outputted to the servos and motor. I hope that's clear. If there's any questions, just post them. And so let's go ahead and show you how this works. First things first, you have to have one setup that works. I've just got this really basic 4-channel remote plugged into this one. It works. The servos are working. The motor works. So you just bring this to the field and plug it into the airplane's receiver, and then plug the servos and motor ESC into the Buddybox output. Let's take the power out here and show you how to do that. I've got it set up where channel 1 is my ESC, and this is going to be powering the unit. This little blue sleeve here is really loose. It's just to prevent you from touching the internals. I've got channel 2 as the aileron, channel 3 as the elevator, and that takes care of my output. You see the arrow goes this way, so this is your output. If I turn this on, I'll have one control set up. Now I need to control this receiver or set up that receiver, and again I've got my throttle in channel 1, aileron in channel 2, an elevator in channel 3. Now you can set up whatever standard you would like. Just make sure that you know what it is. This thing here just takes channel 1, 2, 3, and 4, and from both of them, and depending on which switch is on, sends it to the output, channel 1 to channel 1, channel 2 to channel 2. You can switch these around. You can have the throttle from that one plugged into this one, and just the whole bank will be selected. So just keep that in mind, and you can do some funny things there. If you want your buddy to be controlling the elevator and you control the aileron, you can also do that and switch around. Now, like I said, once you power this, the power will go to this receiver, that receiver, as well as to this thing, and it has I think it's green and red to indicate which one of the 2 is selected. I'm going to do that now. I've got 2 remotes, and one of them is the switch. So the channel 5 is going to be my switch. Channel 5 out of this receiver is going to be my switch. And it doesn't matter if it's that receiver. It's just looking for a signal that's switched one side or the other. Got that. Okay. So now we've got green. Not this one, this one. So, controlling this one, flip it, got nothing, and now it's this one. And that's immediate. So if I was to do this, you flip it, immediately turns off, or immediately turns on. I could go back to this one. So keep in mind, if you're switching on, your buddy has to have throttle similar setting, otherwise the craft could go speeding up or slowing down a little quicker than they expect. Another note, just in adjustments, notice that when I switch over here, there's not much difference going on. The servos aren't moving. Well, this one's moving a little bit. And if I had them trimmed very much differently, you'd notice that when I switch, I'd have some movement. And you don't want that, obviously, because that's going to affect the airplane's going to move as you're just switching it around. And you don't want that. You want it to have steady on sticks down and straight. In the middle, you want to have no movement. Of course, if I'm like this and I hit the switch, it's going to go back to whatever this one's set up as. So one note here is, like I said, you want to trim these so that when the sticks are at the same position, you have similar movements. Okay, so here I would just move it so that it's almost in the same location. It looks good there. And that'll work. If you choose to have the throttle going to straight to the airplane, the way to do that is just to bypass the controller here and go straight to the main receiver that you want to be controlled. So you would just pull the throttle out and put it directly in and not have this go in there at all. And that way, whatever you do here, you would always have the throttle control on this one. That's useful if you have somebody who's really just learning. You don't want them to have control on the throttle. You just want them to have control on aileron or rudder and an elevator. If you do that, though, you'll have to power this with something else. So you'll have to either split your battery or get some power from your ESC here and do a splitter here. Because as you notice, if I pull this out, you lose power on this guy here. See. Hope you got something out of this. I'll post this also on Hobbyking so that people are aware that this is a pretty neat unit. I wish they had the 8-channel in stock, but otherwise works great. Thanks for listening.